Now call to order the meeting of the Jeffersonville City Council for February the 18th. If everybody would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation. Mr. Ellis.
Let's pray. Most gracious and loving God, we come once again thanking you for the many blessings that you've continued to give us. We thank you for the way that you blessed our city and the way that you blessed the people that work with this city. Lord, we ask that you continue to look down upon us with favor, that you give us strength, that you grant us wisdom, and that you grant us peace. Be with us in every way. In the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilperson White. Councilperson Burns.
Here.
Councilperson Harris.
Here.
Council Vice President Maples.
Here.
Councilperson Croft.
Here.
Council President Owen.
Here.
Councilperson Webb.
Here.
Councilperson Hawkins.
Here.
Councilperson Ellis.
Here.
Let the record reflect we got 8 council members present with one absent.
Mr. White advised he would be traveling for this meeting. Let's see, we've got minutes to be approved from February the 3rd. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved. We've got the approval of the agenda. I would like to move number 12 up to be the first item under new business. Make that 10A. There's no objection. Is there a motion?
Motion to amend to move, what was it, Matt?
12 up to 10A, be
12
first
to
under new
10A.
business.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes.
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second. Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, claims. From Civil City Claims in the amount of $758,983.13.
Yes.
Any questions? Have a motion? Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The parks claims $47,338 and 43 cents.
Correct.
Questions? Motion?
Motion to approve the parks claims?
And a second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Report of the clerk.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I wanted to remind those that either got an email from me or from Heather, the new ones that need to watch the internal controls webinar. If you haven't watched that already, please do so. And there's a certificate that you need to sign, and so please turn that either to me and I'll get it to Heather, or actually it really needs to go to Heather. But I just wanted to remind you all to do that, please. If I need to resend anybody the link, just let me know and I will. But that's something the State Board of Accounts requires us to.
Yep. You got to sign the form saying you watched it once. 20 minutes, I think. Anything else?
No.
All right. We don't have any unfinished business, which is nice. New business, we're going to go with Heather Metcalf, 2020 OR, what's the number?
Oh, I'm sorry. For Heather, she is the 2020 OR 12.
12. This is an ordinance transferring funds within the same department. This is the transferring the money from the mayor's fund over to the different departments for the performance-based increases. Also includes all the Social Security and IMPRIS money that goes along with those increases that weren't on the ordinance before. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve 2020 OR number
12
on the first and second.
There was also an addition for the Parks Activity and Vision Center from the last time.
Second.
Motion and a second to pass on the first and second reading. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Was that your additional?
No, okay.
Ms. Spiker.
All right.
We're on a roll.
As I'm getting this ready, you're probably noticing all the colorful things in front of you. So take a moment and leaf through that. All right, well, we did this earlier today, and it did work, so.
Where every one of my jury trials start.
It's just like this.
Really try this.
Uh-huh. Is it popping up? So VGA, right, Patsy, is what it should be. Yeah.
No signal.
Mm-hmm. We'll try it again. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Got the IT guy, Lori.
You gotta have him down there. Heather, if you're looking around, I don't know why it's saying no signal.
Okay.
Welcome Patsy back to the council chamber.
Go figure.
I don't know.
Oh, do you want to do the quick share?
Yep.
Quick share?
Yeah. All right, while you're waiting, I will say, presentation, we'll try it again. This is something that I do every year. It doesn't usually take this long to get it started, so I apologize. But every year, the Public Art Commission starts to plan for the next year at about October, November. So what you're seeing, or what you're going to see tonight, are the plans that were put forth last year for 2020. And every single year we have a theme to that year, so we've got a special theme for this year, which you will soon see. Sorry, Matt, you were on a roll. I've stopped the roll.
We're going to have to move on to Heather's next ordinance.
You might want to while you're waiting. You could do that. Yeah, go for it. We're rebooting.
Sure. Heather's next ordinance was a ordinance of additional appropriation, is that right?
Yes.
I'm scrolling through trying to look, sorry.
DOR 13.
The first two are for the appropriating cash that's in the fund. And then the last one is for the parks vehicles, that I believe Paul Northam is here to talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I passed out some information on our vehicles, kind of a status of where we're at with all of them, both the maintenance department and the green space department. We've graded those on a to F scale. The first form looks like this, and that's the parks and maintenance, the shorter form. And you can see we've got a couple Fs and a D and some Cs down there. So we're in sort of getting, not desperate, but we're getting to a point where we've got some vehicles that are over 25, close to 30 years old. And if you look over in the green space, that's a more comprehensive list of vehicles, trailers, mowers, UTVs, and other. And that, at the top there, you see the trucks. We've got, well, actually, they were graded poor and fair and good. We've got the top three that are highlighted, 3 of 4, that are in poor condition. Numbers 1 and 2 cannot be driven. They're in that bad condition. And number 3 there is drivable, but not in the best condition. So we're in need of starting to do some replacement. We've been talking with Heather about putting together a list of vehicles that need to be replaced over the next few years. And so I'm asking to get some additional appropriation money to help replace some of these vehicles that are in bad condition.
Anything else, Paul?
That's it?
We'll open it up for questions to Paul in just a second. I did want to add, talked a little bit with the mayor, talked a little bit with Les and Paul about this additional appropriation, where this money for some of these vehicles could come from. Edit is certainly getting tight in our budget. We, in the budget session, the last council increased the amount of money out of edit going to the Parks Department. This is above and beyond that. And it really makes me a little uneasy talking about how we're going to sustain the Parks Department and the needs that they have on top of the needs that some of the other departments, like the street department, the sanitation department, our construction crews and all of them, they all have needs, and a lot of those equipment needs come out of edit. And we already dedicate a significant portion of edit to the Parks Department for their things that they do year-round. So I'll open up to any questions of Paul, but before any motions are made, I just wanted to say I'd like, just my opinion, I'd like to see us pass this on the first reading and then have a sit down separately to talk about if this is the right way to go or if there's another solution. Because I think it's definitely a discussion we need to have and make sure that we're going about this the right way, because things are getting really tight, especially with that edit budget. So I'll open it up to
Certainly
anybody
sit down
else.
with anybody or all of you and go over the vehicle situation.
I have a question, just as far as if you were to replace a vehicle, would it have to be brand new, or would you get something?
Actually, no, that's a good question. We have reached out to a few places and got some numbers on some used vehicles, and I mean, there's a lot of used vehicles online, but we found 3 under $49,000. So, you know, when we go for a new one, it's anywhere from $30,000 to $35,000. But if we can get 3 vehicles for under $50,000, now this would just take care of the green space department, which they're needing 3 pretty much right away. That doesn't take into consideration the maintenance department. So I was thinking maybe we'd split it 50-50, 50,000 for the green space and 50 for the maintenance department, and go after some used vehicles. Now these are, some of them are 8 to 12 years old used vehicles, but they're nowhere near what we have right now, the 20 to 25-year-old vehicles.
This goes to a larger conversation that we need to have across the city about what our physical assets look like, what our equipment needs are immediately over the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. It's something we used to have a very good handle on, a capital plan for replacement of garbage trucks and snow plows and different vehicles, but we've not had that for the last several years, and it's something that we've talked about in this building, we've talked about on this council, but we haven't done a very good job of making sure that that plan's in place. So I'd really like to take this opportunity to emphasize the need for planning long-term for these types of things, because, like I said, it may be to the point where we need to look at how we're going to finance things long-term, because our needs are starting to build up. So I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts or questions, but
Anybody be open to starting a committee?
we have a finance committee, and I thought that might be a
Okay. I didn't know.
good group to pull from, at least.
I'd be happy to do that.
Okay.
On that barge, did we pull, I mean, we already appropriated, what, $70,000? Did that come out of the edit too? The budget? What was that
Came out of
estimate,
Parks budget.
170?
177 for the repair, and we took out $60,000 down payment. It came out of my budget, out of my, was it improvements budget?
It would be edit.
Edit improvements, yeah, which we hope will be replaced, but until that happens, it came out of my budget.
And I guess we're going with that plan on the phone quotation as of right now. We didn't find another barge supplement or anything like that?
We didn't.
I know I've talked to a few people, and they had one up in Madison that they bought that they don't know what to do with, and I got somebody checking on that. But Mr. Ellis brought to my attention that you did talk to someone I know we're jumping ship from a utility vehicle to this barge, but the money's getting a little out of control there, but he brought to my attention, I never thought about this. If we do phone fill that barge, and then we want to get rid of it 5 years, then we're got a problem to get rid of it. It might cost us more to get rid of it than...
Well, I've heard the same thing. It could cost up to 3 times the scrapping price to have to remove all that foam. It's a process, but we're hoping what they're doing to the barge now will get us another 10 or 15 years. And I know we're putting some off for the future, but I don't think we'll have to worry about it for at least 10 or 15 years.
Okay.
Well, I talked with someone that had taken a look at the barge, and they basically said it's just a piece of junk, and that you'd actually be just throwing money down the drain if you phone filled that barge like that. I would rather see us go in debt and purchase the barge and purchase for what we need, instead of trying to continue to patch up something that at its best might not last 2 years. They can put the foam in. When the water starts seeping around that foam and everything, you're going to be right back in the same problems, especially when you're dealing with something like the Ohio River. I think, and that's just my personal opinion.
Sure.
It's nobody else's. But I think it would just be a waste of money. Why should we throw $177,000 in something that next year we'd have to pay $177,000 if we wanted to get rid of it?
Well, why don't we just set up a side, we'll start to get a meeting in the finance.
Sidebar and sit down and look at several different things.
Sure. We can do it.
For now, on 2020 OR 13, do we have any motion?
I move the table.
Is there a second to table? Okay, that motion will fail for lack of a second. Is there any other motion?
I'll make the motion to approve on the first reading.
On the first? Is there a second? We got to do something, folks.
I'll make a second with the anticipation of having finance look at this before we make it so.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right.
All right,
Ms.
let's
Blackman.
give this a shot. So 2020 for public art in Jeffersonville, our theme for this year is SOAR. Photo credit here to Andy Crouch for his fancy drone work that he does. So SOAR, I am going to read the introduction real quick. SOAR is Jeffersonville Public Art Program's theme for 2020. It's a rich descriptor for our place in public art at this time. Much like a young fledgling, we have grown strong, creative feathers, and now it is time to fly. The arts in Jeffersonville are ascending, consistently moving onwards and upwards. Sustain the flight, Jeffersonville, and soar gracefully into a colorful and cultural future. So here is, in a nutshell, what we're going to be working on this year. We are planning to develop a mobile no-co unit, so that will be probably something that is interesting to all of your constituents all over the city. So we're trying to make a concerted effort to take the arts from the Arts District out into each of the neighborhoods. And it's not just a quick fix. We want to make sure that we find a unit. We're looking towards some horse trailers, to converting horse trailers, and then beyond that, we're working on a grant with the state of Indiana to put together a programming component this summer for teachers to work with artists, to work on the curriculum for this particular unit so that it can kick off for the kids for next school year. Performance art, we're going to have Shakespeare back at Picasso Point. It's going to be Hamlet this year, so April 24th. We're doing something that may seem kind of insignificant and small, but it's really not. We're working on some coloring books, but they are not just your typical coloring books. They are about the public art in our city, and the whole point is to educate our population on where they are, who created them, where they're located. Our PEP, or our PEP projects, that stands for Public Engagement Projects that we do every year. Last year, we started our Creative Impact Series for the first time, and it was wildly successful. So we're going to continue that down at the NOCO Art Center. We've picked up on some of the very best of, and those will be the recurring Creative Impact Series, the Black Light event, which this year we're going to put a STEAM twist on that. The Upcycled event was a huge hit, and by a huge hit, I mean many of them brought in over 100 to 200 people per event. Another one was the gingerbread night, the gingerbread house family night. Actually, Heather Metcalf's husband was our culinary artist that led that event, and he did a fabulous job. We're bringing back the Sugar Skull Shake Shake, the Dia de los Muertos Festival, and this year it's moving from Big Four Park to the NOCO Arts and Cultural District because it kind of fits there. It's so colorful, it's bright, it's vibrant. We're going to activate the entire district inside of the facility. We're going to get makerspace involved, we're going to get the fire museum involved, and then the outside of the space as well. So indoor and outdoor for that particular festival this year, and that's October 24th. New to NOCO, we've got permanent artist NOCO studio spaces. As of yesterday, everybody was off, but not us down there at the Art Center. We moved in 8 artists permanently for the year, and there was so much excitement. So we'll make sure that we get some press on that and get them in the newspaper soon. If you are around the evening of March 9th and you'd like to go down there and take a peek in the evening, around 7 o'clock, I've encouraged the artists to open up their studio spaces for the Public Art Commission because we're going to meet down there. But I'd love to extend that invitation to all of you as well, and I'll do that to the Redevelopment Commission also, just for a private meet and greet of the artists that night. So that's March 9th. I'll extend that out in an email to you as well. But they're there, it's exciting. They're going to be helping with quite a few of these activities and selling their wares out of their studio spaces, and they're eager to be there. A maker's market. So a lot of the supplemental materials that are super colorful in front of you, I made those so you could take those home and look at those and mull those over a bit. We're going to do a pop-up market. So a pop-up market meaning something quick, something colorful. That's going to happen right next to the water tank this year. And the idea is to seek and find emerging talent. So if you know people who make things in our community, but maybe feel like they're not sure if it would sell. And these could be high school kids, these could be young adults, these could be any age people, but are thinking this could sell. We'll encourage them to apply. We're going to put an application out to find these people, and then we'll have 4 makers markets that are outdoor this year starting in June, and we'll have 1 holiday market inside of the Arts Center. Comedy in the Arts Center. So we've got Comedy by the Bridge. That's also one of your supplemental materials, and it has all the dates on it. We actually have a group that's offering ticketed events down there for the first time, and they're a cool group. They've got people from Netflix, Comedy Central, America's Got Talent, so they find talent all over the place, and then they also open it up to local talent. So they've got a headliner for the night and then a couple local acts. They'll have food, they'll have drinks, all that good stuff. Developing NOCO, we're looking towards making Picasso Point a little safer by eventually installing some sort of a berm unit right there on Spring Street. Also the alleyway behind the Art Center that connects the parking lot back there on 6th to 7th Street. We're talking about repaving and activating that so it makes it more walkable and enjoyable. Some more gateway pieces down in the area, and then having discussions and talks. Right now we call it the black box. It's the cinder block building that's been painted, but talking to various entities to discuss what could happen inside of that facility. And then we always call these large and in charge. There are large projects of the year and things that we'll be working towards, and things that usually happen towards the end of the year because it takes quite a bit of planning. We've been doing sculptural pieces in the neighborhoods, but we really want to put a couple larger pieces at Big Four. So we're going to be looking towards that. And also, last year we worked on a long-range plan, which we're finalizing now, and you'll have links to that. But in that plan, it talked about connectivity from us to Clarksville, from us to New Albany, figuring out ways to connect what we're doing in the arts to other communities. So we're going to be talking to Clarksville about that overpass that connects us to where the Derby Dinner area is, and possibly pairing up with them and doing a really cool piece under that underpass. Not going to read the introduction to you, but just wanted to reemphasize that this is going to be a big year for us. For the first time ever, we've got 58 events for the year. We've never had that before. So a lot of those activities are happening inside the Art Center, but a lot of them are also happening on the grounds and out in the neighborhoods as well. Like I said, you've got some materials in front of you. I think one that I'm most proud of.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And I've got some for everybody else. We just put together our look inside for events and things. The Art Center has never had a brochure that outlines all the activities that we're having, so it's probably the most colorful brochure you're ever going to see. But if you're wondering what's happening, it's all right here, so share this out, and we'll be giving this out this year to everybody that we see and we meet and we know. If you want to look at more pertaining to the pop-up market, that's in front of you on the 11 by 17. If you're more interested in the mobile art unit, that's also in 11 by 17, and I'm going to leave you with all of that colorful material, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions from Ms. Spiker? Awesome. Sounds like you guys have got a full plate for the year.
Yep.
All right. We'll move on. Chad Reichel, a revision to the landscape standards. Way out of order, but we finally made it back to you.
It's all good. It's all good. Gentlemen of the council, before you tonight are revisions to the city's landscape code. These revisions come to you with a favorable recommendation from the Plan Commission. I personally believe that when a handful of developers have a problem with our zoning code, that it's a good sign that it's working. However, when we see consistently repetitive compliance issues, I feel a change is needed. In my 3.5 years with the city, I've noted that the landscape code is one of, if not the most problematic section in the code in terms of compliance issues. In fact, a quick glance through our casework indicated that the Plan Commission and the Board of Zoning Appeals have approved at least 30 waivers, variances, and/or fees in lieu over the last 3 years against the landscaping standards. Our record keeping in our office is sometimes a little lack, and we actually feel like it's probably closer to 40 or 50 variances, waivers, etc. Given these numbers, I feel it's really apparent that the city's landscape standards are problematic and need to be addressed. I've really made this as my first priority as planning director to address the problem. Over the winter, staff has examined the existing standards based on casework that we've done over the last 3 years and determined where modifications could be made to the code that reduce the number of waiver variance requests that we receive while still providing an acceptable quantity of landscaping on sites in Jeffersonville. The primary changes to the code include eliminating the minimum tree plantings per the building area and replacing it with minimum tree plantings per the lot area. This reduces issues that we've encountered with multi-story buildings and small lots that don't have a whole lot of room for trees. It generally reduces the number of trees required along city streets from 1 per every 25 feet of street frontage to 1 to 35 feet of street frontage. This is a standard that was nearly impossible to meet given entrance drives, signs, utilities, etc. in the public right-of-way. And frankly, 1 per 35 feet is healthier for the survival and longevity of those trees planted in the right-of-way than 1 for every 25 feet. We have rearranged some of the components in the landscape plan by zoning classification, so that is much easier to use. And we have adjusted some of the buffer yard standards that are included in the ordinance. Along with these standards, we've made some minor changes by updating the native plant and pest lists. We've added some definitions for landscaping materials that are required in the code. Previously, they weren't really, it wasn't addressed what a shade tree, what an ornamental tree was in the code, so we've added those definitions. And finally, we've updated some of the format and organization of the document for clarity. We feel that these revisions should significantly reduce the number of waiver and or variance requests that we must bring to the Plan Commission and the Board of Zoning Appeals and allow us to expedite some of these fully compliant projects at the staff level. Please let me know if you have any further questions.
It comes with unanimous support from the Plan Commission.
Correct.
What's the number? Is this going to be
14.
14?
This doesn't raise any, I looked through, I didn't see no fees.
No.
Any questions, comments, motions?
Make a motion, we pass 2024, I don't know what number that is.
14?
14.
Second.
Motion and a second. Anything further? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, sir. All right. Now we can skip all the way back down. Ron Ellis, the Urban Enterprise Zone appointment.
At our last council meeting, we made appointments to the Urban Enterprise Zone. And after going to the meeting, there was one item that was improperly done. We didn't follow state statute when we made an appointment at the Urban Enterprise Zone. The person that we appointed was supposed to be a Republican, and by looking at the voting record, this person was a Democrat, so we need to reappoint someone to that position.
Yeah, I think Mr. Ellis is correct. The statute specifically says that the Republican appointment had to have voted Republican in the last primary.
Right.
And the person we appointed, while they are a elected Republican precinct committee person and a Republican candidate for the same position this year, they did pull a Democratic ticket in 2019, so by the statute they don't qualify or meet the standard. So I would entertain a motion then, I guess, we need to make a motion to remove that person?
So it would be, as a matter of law, that she is not a member, therefore you don't need to remove her.
So
As a
she's
matter of
voting.
law, she is not a member, so at this juncture, you would need to obviously repropagate that board with a correct
Okay.
member.
And I think I looked, and there was another resident of the zone who I confirmed did vote Republican last year, and that was Shannon Grant. And I've spoken with him. He is willing to serve, happy to serve, and if everybody would be willing, I'd entertain a motion to appoint Shannon Grant to the UEZ as the resident Republican.
So moved.
Motion and a second, Mr. Maples. Anything further? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Easy enough. Attorney comments?
Glad to be here with you guys today. I've got nothing to report, which is, again, always a good thing.
Always a good thing.
Always a good thing.
All right. Any department heads that would like to speak? We have Chief Grant.
We're good.
Congratulations on the announcement of your appointment.
Thank you, guys.
Not effective just yet, but close enough, right?
I'm doing the work, I just don't get paid.
Any other department heads? All right, thank you guys for being here. Was there any public comment?
There was no one signed up for public comment.
No sign-ups. Okay. Council comments, Mr. Burns?
Nothing.
Mr. Parris?
No comment?
Mr. Maples?
Recently taken on a new role at work, and it's caused some scheduling conflicts with my being on the arts board. I've talked to Ms. Spiker. I can't make some of the meetings, so I'm going to ask that we find a replacement for me. I don't know if anybody has anybody in mind. I know I talked to Dustin. He said he would do it if we didn't have anybody else, but
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else has any suggestions on it. Anybody wants to be on the arts board?
And in fact, since Mr. White is not present, this is the time to appoint him to anything you want.
Anything we want. He is.
I'm telling the truth when I
No opinion.
Make a motion. I'll make a motion. How do I remove myself?
You asked to be, you said you resigned.
Okay, I resign. So motion to put Dustin White on the arts board.
The art board.
Art board.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
It sounds like parks. I'm
No,
sorry.
arts. No, art board.
I thought he said park.
We put him on parks too if we need to.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a motion and a second for Dustin to go on the arts board in Mr. Maples' spot.
I'll second.
Okay. Anything else? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Anything else?
Nope, I believe that's it.
Mr. Crop?
Not this one.
Okay. Mr. Webb?
Glad to see everybody out there, familiar faces out there. Don't have much to say, but we had another grand opening. First Savings Bank opened our new branch out there. The crowd was outstanding. There must have been at least 100 people there. I can see why Scott got off the 6 because he don't have to go to all those grand openings.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, there's a lot, yeah. So I know not everybody banks there, but hey, at least stop in there and say hi to Cheryl and Nancy, and the bank looks good. And there's plenty more to go to, so that's all.
Mr. Hawkins?
Let's get who is a member of the Finance Committee, which when I signed up for it, didn't think it would ever meet, and here we are in the next meeting
Scheduling.
for scheduling. When do you get, who would like to get together, and when would we like to do that? Today's the 18th, our next, we have 2 weeks.
Who's on
Myself, I think Scott,
And me.
How about, could we do next, you guys just want to get together next Monday evening sometime, or I'll maybe send you guys some dates, and
Sounds good.
we'll just pick it?
yeah, we'll just email.
And let the,
Yeah, you want to sit in?
Yeah, so
Okay.
and please let the clerks, because that is an official committee that, no.
We'll take some minutes.
And do you have, that needs to pass on?
Nope. Oh, yeah, I guess I do.
I didn't want anybody to get out of here without.
Don't leave
signing
until
it.
you sign this ordinance.
Thank you.
Anything else?
So that email chain will be Lisa, Joe, Matt, Scotty, and myself.
Yep.
Okay. And Matt, I guess we probably do need to.
That'd be a good idea.
Okay, I'll take that, and then that's all I have, thanks.
Mr. Ellis?
I would maybe like to ask you, when would we have the time to look at the rules that we went over?
That was on my list too. We need to get that group together again. So maybe we'll send 2 emails just amongst ourselves to try to figure that out within the next couple of weeks. Anything else? Okay. I just wanted to congratulate Scotty Maples, who's made Chief Deputy with the Sheriff's Department since our last meeting. That's a big move for him, and congratulations on the order. Congratulations, Chief Grant, on your announcement. We already said, and Assistant Chief also in the audience. I know we put together a group for contract negotiations. Has that
We met tonight for the first meeting.
You have met? Okay. And, I put in the apparel order. That should be in sometime next week. Get everybody that ordered something there. Anything else? All right. Motion to adjourn? Second. We're adjourned. 40 minutes.